Everybody, welcome to the United Stands. I'm Mark Goldbridge, and at what point do we start having a conversation about Manchester United no longer being a big pull for players and, more importantly, managers? Ancelotti, the latest manager to snub Manchester United. Tuchel yesterday, Ancelotti today, Enrique last week. We have ownership that talks about best in class, and all the best-in-class options are refusing to come to Manchester United. You know, I look at Michael Carrick, I look at Ruben Amorim, I look at Erik ten Hag, I look at Jose Mourinho, and I liken it to removing piss from a swimming pool. It doesn't matter how well they do. How do you perform when you have an ownership that just is basically destroying the football club? It's like the guy who's trying to empty a bath with a spoon while the taps are on. It doesn't matter how good you are at emptying that bath. The taps are on. It's going to keep filling in. So look, we'll delve into that. I've got some interesting stuff about Thomas Tuchel as well. A few bits on the transfers. Michael Carrick's winning manager of the month as well. So quite a lot to get into this morning. But obviously we're going to hit in with this breaking news. Also, Elliot Anderson. Strong rumours this morning that Manchester City will win that race. This is a player that Man United have been telling us all season is the priority. But they've been telling us they're going to go best in class with the manager as well, and this needs calling out. When Amorim got sacked, we're going to have a best in class recruitment policy. All I've seen over the last 3 weeks is 3 of the best candidates rule themselves out of a Man United job. I mean, I don't know what we're supposed to be happy about with that. I saw Ben Jacobs' shortlist yesterday, and I was like, that's if you can get those people, and I'm not particularly happy about it. You've got Glasner, Iriola, Nagelsmann, Pochettino, and Silva. Or Carrick. I mean, I'm sorry, none of those 6 managers jump out at me as they're going to rebuild Man United. So serious stuff to get into on the show this morning, and obviously always do get your comments in. I want to start off on a positive though, 2 positives actually. First of all, new Driving with Goldbridge is coming out this morning, and it's a premiere, so we can watch it together. I felt like it's been crap weather, bit of a crap week with what Sir Jim and everything, and not beating West Ham, and Liverpool being 3 points behind us now. So I thought, let's get a Driving with Goldbridge out ahead of the Valentine's Day, so we can watch that straight after this. It's on my channel, a live premiere at 10:45, although I might have to push it back because we'll probably go to 11. Also, Michael Carrick winning manager of the month should be celebrated. Hopefully it won't be a curse. Remember, I think Amorim won it this season, didn't he? I mean, look, I hope when Michael Carrick gets that, he does acknowledge Darren Fletcher and Ruben Amorim, because how you win manager of the month playing only 2 games is a little bit cheat. But we did have the best month. Like, we were unbeaten in January, and we did win against Man City and Arsenal. But Michael Carrick did only manage 2 games out of the 4 that we played. So it's more of a Man United manager of the month than a Michael Carrick, in my opinion, but he is the incumbent manager, so well done to him. Fair play, Mark. Now I understand why you stay out of politics. Simon Jordan get absolute pelters for his right-wing views on the Radcliffe saga, says Penfold. Shove it away. Let's accept this debacle willfully. Vision distorted, says Amit. And the elite coaches avoid Man United because the owners are champers, says JB. Well, look, I've heard this from you for so many years that Manchester United are going to hit a point where they don't get players or managers anymore. Like they'll use up the goodwill. And I've never really believed it, because I always think that managers are egotistical. And even though the writing is, I mean, look, Ten Hag was told not to take the Manchester United job by Louis van Gaal. Also, I want to talk about Bruno leaving Man United this summer. Remind me about that. I want to talk about that because I think Ben Jacobs said something very interesting last night. Anyway, so I've never really agreed with it, because I know footballers and I know managers, and they're quite egotistical. And when people say don't go somewhere, they'll see the lights of Manchester United and go and do it anyway, which is what Erik ten Hag did. However, I think you're right. I think we are starting to see that shift now of players and managers looking at Man United and going, no. I mean, we have pretty much always gone and got what we wanted. Jose Mourinho was begging for the job after Van Gaal. Van Gaal was a big name when we got him. Ten Hag and Amorim were hipster managers. So we've done all right. I know it's not ended well, but we've done all right in relation to our managerial recruitment. David Moyes was an example of where it goes wrong, where all the good managers are gone and you need a manager. But I think what we're seeing now is this, and look, it's interesting because people were talking about Thiago of Brentford signing for Man United. United because an interview came out last night about how he's a Man United fan. So people started going, oh, Thiago will do. Back up to Sesko. He's just gone and signed the new contract this morning till 2032. So he ain't coming to Man United. And if he is, he's going to be bloody expensive. So, you know, even the Man United players even the players that support Man United are now sort of signing long contracts elsewhere. Anyway, we're here to talk about managers. So Enrique's basically ruled himself out. This is pretty well understood in the industry. Enrique wouldn't work well under Jason Wilcox and the Glazers anyway. Also, he's still got a year left at PSG and has shown no inclination that he would like to take Man United's job, which would probably destroy his career. So Enrique's considered not real as an option anyway. Tuchel, well, Fabrizio Romano even came out last night and said Manchester United definitely appreciate Thomas Tuchel and he definitely would have been under consideration, but he's chosen to sign a contract for England. So that's a snub. And remember, we did go for Tuchel after when we were looking at Ten Hag sacking. And Ancelotti, as per The Athletic, is about to sign a new 4-year deal with the Brazil national team. So Ancelotti, Tuchel, Enrique gone. They were my top three. They were the best three, in my opinion. They were the top three. You might have, you might want to chuck Nagelsmann in or Emery, and they're still there, I suppose. But my top three of best, absolute best in class you can get was Ancelotti, Enrique, and Tuchel. And they've all snubbed Manchester United. So I look at it and I just go, I'm so angry with the club anyway. I find myself so angry with the Glazers and Ineos constantly. They just absolutely disgust me in what they do with the football club. And that's beside what we've had in the last couple of days and, you know, owners talking about politics. I'm just furious about the football side of how the club's being run. I'm fed up of being lied to. I'm fed up of having no vision. And I'm fed up of a lack of trust for something that I absolutely adore. And you know what? Most of the time, I'm just irritated by the way the club is being run. And you know what? I think, all right, there are idiots in every walk of life. And I'm sure we've got idiots in our fan base that just lap it up and say, oh, stop moaning, let's be positive. But I think most people are actually quite intelligent. And it doesn't take only a few seconds to work out things are going to get worse at this football club the way we're being run. We had a project under Amorim, rightly or wrongly, they've ended that project. We now have an interim who has very little experience and may or may not work. We don't know. If he does work, he's going to be a puppet to Wilcox, who is completely clueless, who is a puppet to Sir Jim, who is quite clearly quite clueless, and the Glazers, who are quite clearly quite clueless. So the future's not bright, is it? We're still going to have this ownership who constantly lie about best in class and have never delivered it. We've not delivered best in class in any area. Mbeumo's a good signing, but he's not best in class. Cunha's a great signing. They're not best in class. And I'm not criticising the signings of Cunha and Mbeumo. I like them. But tell me, since Sir Jim Radcliffe spoke about best in class, when have we actually recruited best in class? Dan Ashworth wasn't best in class. Jason Wilcox not best in class. Omar Barada's not best in class. Lenny Yoro wasn't best in class. Le Mans is not best in class. Cunha's not best in class. Sesko's not best in class. Carrick's not best in class. Now, we haven't done it. Now, that's not me being critical of Le Mans or Carrick or Cunha or Mbeumo. I like them all. But when you say we're going to recruit best in class, tell me when you've done it once. You haven't done it. You haven't gone and got best in class in any area. So why don't you just tell the bloody truth? Why do you lie to fans and sell a vision that's not true? Because you want our money. You want the corporate tickets. You want the season tickets. You want the shirt sales. It's bullshit and it needs calling out. And I'm glad people are starting to wake up. I'm glad there's protests and I'm glad people are angry with Sir Jim Radcliffe. Maybe not for the political stuff. That doesn't necessarily rock my boat. The way that Man United's being run, that does. And we're being lied to all the time. I can't believe we're sat here 3 weeks after best in class managerial recruitment process. I mean, literally, you can go back and listen and read to informed journalists that have been told stuff by the club. United are going to run a very patient and thorough best in class managerial recruitment policy, right? That's absolutely fine to say that. But if you sit on your arse and do nothing, this is what happens. We're going to run the best ever super duper dabby dozy managerial recruitment process where we leave no stone unturned and everything is on the table. That sounds great 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks later, Ancelotti's signing a new contract at Brazil, Tuchel's signing a new contract at England, and Enrique is staying at PSG. So your super duper fan-dabby-dozy recruitment process, 3 of your best targets have already said no. And that, to me, is incredible. Because how do you run that policy? How do you do it? I don't know. I don't know. Sorry, I've got a couple of comments in here. I will talk about Elliot Anderson in a minute, but I just wanted to get that off my chest in relation to where does that leave us now? Because, as I say, everybody's got their own ideas about what they want. For me, I did that video the day after Ruben Amorim was sacked, sat in my garden, frosty, and I said, I don't see a way back. And I'm not going to change that mind. I don't see a way back. I want to be positive, but I don't see a way back. I saw a quote from a journalist saying, Martinez and Maguire love playing together. Oh, great. Oh, great. Let's get the party poppers out. Martinez and Maguire love playing together. Maguire's nearly finished. That's not the future, is it? Maguire and Martin. Oh, let's all have a fucking party because we're living in the now. We need to live in the bloody future. What's the future of this football club? Who's the manager going to be? How good are they going to be? What's the transfer policy? How much are we spending? Who are we getting rid of? I'm just so fed up of being fucking lied to and spun with, and it's all about the now. I mean, most people this morning are leading with Michael Carrick's one manager of the month. We've just drawn to West Ham in February. That was January. I mean, we're constantly living in the fucking past. What's the future of this football club? What is the future of the football club? And nobody can answer that question. And I think that it actually does piss me off that Tuchel signed a contract for England and Ancelotti signed a contract for Brazil. Because I guarantee what we did is, we're quite interested in Tuchel. He's going to stay for England. All right, see you later. We do quite like Ancelotti. Yeah, he's going to sign a new contract at Brazil. Oh, sorry for bothering you. I mean, that's not how you do it. That's not how Real Madrid act. That's not how Bayern Munich act. That's not even how Chelsea act. Yeah, he's thinking about signing a new contract for England. No, get me in a room with Tuchel. I'm telling you now, tell him, do not sign that contract until he's spoken to us because he's going to regret it for the rest of his life. And it's not like it was before. Get him in a room with me. Secret talks, whatever. We want him. You know, you go and get them. But the fact is, they don't really want Ancelotti. They don't really want Tuchel because they know with those types of managers, Wilcox is getting bullied out of Manchester. They don't want managers. They want bitches. They want puppets. And that's what they mean by best in class. And that is why when Ben Jacobs says that the list of managers that they're looking at, Pochettino, Nagelsmann, Glasner, Silva, Iraola, every single one of them, bar probably Nagelsmann, will be happy to sit under Jason Wilcox and bear, you know, they will be sheep because they're going to be so grateful to be given the massive Manchester United job. But if I said to you, Pochettino, Glasner, Silva, Iraola, Carrick, De Zerbi, do you think we're back? Or do you think here's another massive punch that we've got absolutely no idea where it's going to land? That's not best in class. That's not best in class, in my opinion. Right, I better talk to you about Elliot Anderson because a lot of people are asking me about this. What about Southgate? Don't even dare. Don't even dare. What do you think of Xabi Alonso as a manager? Let me catch up on a couple of super chats. The Proud Apollo. What I think about Xabi Alonso as a manager is that I think he will end up signing for Liverpool in the summer. I think Slot's definitely gone in the summer. I also think that when you look at Xabi Alonso, and there's no doubt he's a very good manager, his success primarily came with a back three. And for whatever reason, I think Manchester United fans will eternally be scarred by the back three now. Even though there's nothing wrong with playing a back three, and I've seen Michael Carrick do it in recent times for occasional moments of games. He's also a Liverpool player, so I don't see that happen. Madrid are looking for a manager too, says Robert McCormack. Yes, I think Madrid might be looking at Klopp, but yeah, Real Madrid will be looking for a manager as well. I don't see a desirable manager coming to Man United as epic trolls and how to for... Yeah, but you know what that exposes? That just exposes that the Amorim thing, they weren't in control of that at all. I mean, I was told, and I said it to you quite a while ago, the sacking of Amrim was mainly because of a huge fallout between him and Wilcox. They didn't really want to do that, and it left them in a position where they've got absolutely no idea what to do next. And that, I mean, I told you that a month ago, and I don't think there's any reason to disbelieve that. So yeah, that's exactly what I expected to happen by board, says Jacob. Patrick says, manager of United is a prestige job. Prestige is created by reputation and investment. The owners have destroyed the reputation over the last decade, and we won't pay enough to get the best. Finally seeing the evidence of a decline, says Patrick. Well, that's what scares me the most, is that are we finally starting to see the decline of Manchester United? Are we finally starting to see that? Because the next thing I wanted to talk to you about, and I have hinted at this for the last couple of weeks, but more and more people are saying it. Now, I don't think this is going to hit public probably until the March international break. People talk about him following Man City on Instagram and not following Manchester United. I mean, that's not the basis of this story. It's been rumoured for about 6 weeks now that Elliot Anderson will join Man City, so much so that when they bought Gahey and Semenyo in January, there was talk that if Forest blinked, Man City would do the deal in January. They didn't. Obviously, that was probably the right move for them, looking at where they are in the league. They would be absolutely, that owner would be absolutely destroyed if he sold Elliot Anderson to Man City in January. But Man United obviously have spoken about wanting Elliot Anderson publicly for most of the season. The story is that that's Man City's deal, and that Anderson and Forest and Man City could have done a deal in January if there'd been any indication that Forest wanted to do it. So they're way ahead. They're way ahead in the race. Now, nobody's going to confirm that. There's even talk that Elliot Anderson might wait till after the World Cup. Man City want to get it done as soon as they can. Forest apparently obviously don't want to announce anything until they're safe, and they've also got Europa League football to play for. But that deal is apparently as close to being done as it can be. Now, whether that transpires, whether we can swoop in, I remember all the years ago when Roy Keane was going to sign for Blackburn, Kenny Dalglish went off on a golfing weekend and Sir Alex swooped in and got him. Look, you'd like to think that Man United can do that sort of thing, but does it not fit in again with what we were just talking about? Sir Alex Ferguson having a chat with Roy Keane when Man United are the best team in England to stop him going to Blackburn is very different to God knows who. I mean, who would have the chat with Elliot Anderson? This is the thing that worries me. When you've got Premier League winners Man United, Sir Alex Ferguson personally speaking to Roy Keane to persuade him not to go to Blackburn, that's quite a lot of sway. What are we going to send? Jason Wilcox to have a chat with Elliot Anderson and say, come to Manchester United? I don't know. Maybe get Gary Neville to come along and go, we're Man United in the background. I don't know how you change that deal. I really, really don't. I don't want to say what I'm about to say because I think most of you will say it as well. If you're Elliot Anderson and you've got a choice between Man City and Man United, unless you're a Man United fan, the only thing that puts you off about Man City is who's the next manager going to be if Pep goes. What puts you off Man United? Well, we've got 10 years of a list of stuff. So I think that we probably can't, in fairness, and I always try to be fair, we probably can't, in fairness, assess this situation until August when we see what we buy, who goes, and who the manager is. But I can take an evaluated guess that this ain't going to go good. I think good for me would be best in class manager. Bruno Fernandes stays, people like Elliot Anderson come in, and we buy 8 players. That would be what I think is necessary. Not fantasy, necessary. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think the manager's going to hit the levels I think. I'm not sure Bruno's going to stay. And we're not going to sign 8 players either. And I don't think we're going to beat decent clubs to the players that we need to get either. So are we, as I said at the start of the video, now starting to realise or the chickens are coming home to roost, or whatever the saying is, we're just not that attractive proposition anymore. And that's not because of us. That's not because of the fans. I think Old Trafford, we are still what we've always been. Hungry, passionate, dedicated, amazing football fans. But that's not enough anymore. That's not enough anymore because we're there as fans all the time. But the reality is, the squad, the structure, the status. You look at Man United, and if you're an alien and you'd been down to visit Earth in the 90s and you knew what Man United was like, and then you came back down in 2026 and they said, we've removed all shirts and colours, guess who Man United is? You'd probably go, Man City? That's probably who you think Man United are. And if you said, who do you think that Man United team is? They'd probably say, well, I wouldn't even say we're Tottenham. Who do you think Man United are? If they're not Man United, if you look at our behaviour of the last 2 years, who do you think we are? I would say, I don't know what we are anymore, but we're certainly not Manchester United. We're not. We don't have that identity. Maybe we are Spurs, like Isaac says, but we're not Manchester United. We don't behave like Manchester United. And I think agents and players and managers see through that. And look, the reason Thomas Tuchel would rather stay as I've never seen this before, right? If Bobby Robson, Sir Bobby Robson, or Terry Venables, or Glenn Hoddle, or Sven-Goran Eriksson, or Fabio Capello, or Gareth Southgate had been offered the Man United job when they were England coach, I'm pretty sure they would have took the job. England's a good job, but Man United, in fact, Sven-Goran Eriksson was offered the Man United job and apparently was going to take it, and United pulled out. So why is Thomas Tuchel taking an England contract over Man United? That's pretty unprecedented. Now, a lot of you won't live in the UK, but trust me, that's not normal. Managing England over managing Manchester United. Most international managers crave the day-to-day of domestic football. And the Man United job over the England job, oh my God. So I think that is... Look, Ancelotti's slightly different because of his age. He's managed everywhere and he can pick and choose what he wants. I'll tell you why Ancelotti hasn't gone for it. But Thomas Tuchel not going for it, he's not old. He's definitely going to come back into club management. The England job isn't secure either. Like, if England do crap in the World Cup, there's a lot of English fans who don't like the fact that we've got a German in charge. I love it. I think go for best in class. But so it's not even like he shouldn't be choosing England over Man United normally. But I'll tell you why he has. Because Man United is not the job people think it is. You know you're going to get... Most managers will have looked at the treatment of Amrim and gone, they brought a guy in with a distinctive style of play who was clearly going to take 2 to 3 years to build that team. And after 12 months, they've told him to change his style of play. They've not bought him any midfielders and they've sacked him and thrown him under the bus. And I think a lot of managers will look at that in a different way to we do as fans. They will look at that and go, that's wild. They've brought him in and within a year they've sacked him and also told him to change change how he plays. I don't really fancy that because I guarantee when they gave Amrim the job, they were saying, well, we're going to do this, this, this and this. So I think Thomas Tuchel may have looked at it and gone, they're going to tell me everything. They're going to promise me the world. And then in a year's time when it's not working, they're going to throw me under the bus. And I think that's why Thomas Tuchel hasn't took the job. Ancelotti, I think, has gone, I've managed Real Madrid, I've managed Bayern Munich, I've managed PSG, I've managed Italian clubs, I'm managing Brazil. I'm not going to go and manage Man United with those bunch of prats. And I think that's what's happening. So I think United's best-in-class policy isn't best in class, it's best you can get. And they need a bloody puppet to work for those idiots. And there will be people queuing up, but I don't think they're going to be of the quality that we need, if I'm being honest. So Jim moaning about immigrants when he himself moved to tax haven Monaco 6 years ago. What kills the economy isn't immigrants, it's billionaires being too greedy to pay tax. Get out of our club, says Marlow. I mean, look, on a tax point of view, I will agree with you on that, Marlow. I think that there's plenty of footballers who try to, hide and disguise their money. I got sent something the other day and I said, send it on to an investigative journalist and blow the bloody doors off if it's true. And it was something to do with football clubs who, I can't even remember it. And this is pure, I haven't seen the article come out yet, but it was something, like footballers earn ridiculous money. It was something about football clubs or certain football clubs buying the cars for them to write them off as tax through the club. So they basically get free cars as well. It was something like that. And look, if that happens, it happens. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But I just think, well, nobody's fucking buying my car that's probably a souped up Bugatti and writing it off as tax. But it's true. The richer you are, you can piss off to Dubai, you can piss off to Monaco, you can write things off here, there, and everywhere. And it's the rest of us who pay tax. I pay fucking loads of tax and always have done, and I'm sure you do as well. So, you know, I do agree with you on that, Marlo. I think that tax is not really something that's going to divide people, is it? We've probably got very few billionaires who are going to come in with a super chat and say, well, I disagree. I think we should be able to hide our money and move it off somewhere else. So yeah, there's a lot of yeah, I agree with you on that. Southgate's still available, says Maz. We're done if we go for Southgate, aren't we? Adam says, nothing will ever change until the owners go. Had some good managers and still crap battling to get top 6. Should be battling for titles, says Adam. Desiree says, all big clubs have changed their squad. Only Man United are giving new contracts to crap or average players like Maguire and Shaw, says Desiree. Well, did you see what, talking about Thomas Tuchel, did you hear what he said? Just a little change of topic for a couple of minutes. He was talking about Mainu and he said it's fantastic to see him back on the pitch. He's an extremely talented player. He's already played in a tournament with England, so he's back in the running for a spot in the England team. Just like Luke Shaw and Harry Maguire. They're now playing a back four and in a different style, which is a bit easier to integrate into our current setup. I mean, look, Mainu back in the England squad. Look, I think Mainu's a very exciting player. Luke Shaw back playing for England. Oh my God. Oh my God. I bet he was out. I bet Luke Shaw was out so happy last night he was doing diss tracks on TikTok. What the fuck is Thomas Tuchel talking about? You've got Lewis Hall and Nico O'Reilly, who are two brilliant left backs, and you're thinking about Luke fucking Shaw. Come on. I'm sorry, even as a Man United fan, I don't want him anywhere near an England team. He doesn't bloody deserve it. He doesn't deserve it. He's not good enough. And Ricky's going to go mad. But I'm not even sure I'd take Harry Maguire, to be honest. Maybe if you've got centre-back injuries, I think Konza, Gahey, these players are better. But Luke Shaw back in a fucking England squad, I'm sorry, absolutely not. But look, Mainu's got a chance. There are some good options, as we know. We've spoken about Elliot Anderson, Adam Wharton, Declan Rice. But I think Mainu might have an opportunity. We'll have to wait and see. It'd be nice to see... Look, I'm looking forward to the World Cup. It's always nice as an Englishman to have a Man United player in the England team. Now, Marcus Rashford technically might still be a Man United player, but I'd like to have somebody who actually is a Man United player. Man United's pull has been low due to the Glazers, says VK. Radcliffe making Man United untouchable, says Ray. And Penfold says, fair play, Mark. Thank you very much for that. I've done that one, haven't I? Did you see Andy Burnham's comments about Sir Jim? Yeah, but Ryan, I wouldn't worry about politicians. Oh, I'm outraged by Sir Jim Radcliffe's comments, but I'm also part of a project to make Sir Jim Radcliffe rich. I trust politicians less than I trust the Glazers, and I don't trust them. But Keir Starmer, Prime Minister of the UK, Andy Burnham, Mayor of Manchester, oh, we're outraged by what Sir Jim Radcliffe says, yet you're balls deep in doubling his money by funding a regeneration project for the Old Trafford area. Hypocrites, which is what politicians are. So I'm sorry, I think there's more sincerity in one of you lot telling me why you're outraged or you're backing Sir Jim than there is with a politician who is literally going to make the Glazers and Sir Jim Radcliffe rich. And they are going to make them rich because that regeneration project is going to make Man United worth 10 billion instead of 5 billion. Who owns Man United? The Glazers and Sir Jim. So don't pontificate about what Sir Jim Radcliffe has said is ridiculous when you're then literally going to help him double his money to like 4 billion, you know? Any Man United who cares about their reputation, any manager who cares about their reputation won't come near us, says Alexander. And Bashir says, irrelevant, but starting to believe Ineos bought Man United for PR and marketing and a future exit. Thank you very much. Wasn't there something about Amrin revealing what had happened about his sacking about the board at the end of the season, says Naveen? Well, we'll have to wait and see on that. I mean, the overlap interview with Ange was very good. So if they can get Amrin on there, that would be good. Dave Train says, Mark, you hypocrite. You championed these staff at the start. Mark, you hypocrite, you championed these staff at the start. No, you didn't put the vert in. You couldn't even construct the sentence, could you? I don't know who you're talking about, mate. You might be getting mixed up with other stuff that you've watched. I don't remember championing the Glazers or Sir Jim or Barada or Wilcox. I don't. I just feel we're going to end up with Carrick, says Rajaf. Yeah. Amit says, we're never winning titles under this ownership. Invariably, top managers will reject the ownership, so we end up with a shitty manager and signing, says Amit. Look, the structure of Manchester United, before we move on, is basically this. If you're going to be the manager, you're going to be a head coach. And if you're going to be the head coach, you've got to do what Jason Wilcox tells you. David Ornstein, Fabrizio Romano, The Telegraph, Gary Neville, whoever, cannot tell us that's not the case. That is something that it will not be publicised because it's something that United fans won't like. But the truth of the matter is, whoever takes that head coach role has to sign and agree to be told what to do by Jason Wilcox. Jason Wilcox is basically the guy. That's why Amrim's not here anymore. That's why Carrick is here now. That's why the next manager will be here. You have to get somebody that is willing to sign a contract and say, I'll do what Jason Wilcox tells me to do. Well, most decent coaches are going to go, yeah, fuck off. So you're going to end up, you can't go best in class. If you go shopping this afternoon and you're cooking for Valentine's Day tomorrow, right? You might go down to London, you might go to Harrods. You might think, I can't be arsed with that. I'll go Waitrose. I'll go Marks and Spencer's. These are all good places to get your food. Or you might go to a really good, reputable local butcher, get good meat, get good ingredients, and cook it all yourself, right? But you're going to go what you perceive to be best in class to cook the best meal possible for Valentine's Day tomorrow. United are going to bloody Poundland or Iceland. They're not going to those places. They're lying to you. They're not going to get those. They're not. They've got parameters that they have to operate in. They will hire Carrick at the end of the season and try to make us believe it was their plan from the beginning, says Anthony. Look, if Michael Carrick gets the job, I hope he's backed with a lot of money and I hope he does a great job. But if they give Michael Carrick the job, then I'm sorry, and I'll say it right here now, doesn't mean they shouldn't give him the job, but if they gave Michael Carrick the job, just the same as when they gave Ollie the job, they're completely and utterly ignoring a managerial process and just going for the easy option, aren't they? That's not a process. Sorry, but why on earth would Enrique leave a Champions League winning team with cash for how we are now? At this point, we might as well give it to Carrick or Glasner, says Keel. Thank you very much. Okay, got a few more bits to get through. Don't forget, we are on my channel straight after this with a live premiere of Driving with Goldbridge. You've got to start watching it and get involved in it. It's my fourth one of the year already. I normally only do one in a year. Okay, we've spoken about that. This just very, very quickly. Chris Wheeler said that Sir Jim Radcliffe's controversial comments about immigrants has caused alarm among a section of the Man United dressing room. Sources close to some of the players said they were alarmed to hear Radcliffe claim the UK has been colonised by immigrants. Well, look, I'm not going down that road, but I will just say this, right? If we as fans have been alarmed by the ownership of this football club for 20 years, and since Ineos came in, we've been alarmed for 2 years. If Man United players are suddenly only being alarmed by the ownership of Man United because of what he said about immigration, well, I'm sorry, you must have your head buried up your arse. Because they've got every right to be alarmed by what he said. But have you had your head up your arse for the last 2 years? I mean, they've sacked half the people that you work with. They've sacked 2 managers and spent $500 million. You finished 15th in the league. You lost to Spurs in a Europa League final. And it takes a political statement for you to get alarmed by the ownership. So whilst I do have total and utter understanding why they might be alarmed by what he said yesterday, that shouldn't be the straw that broke the camel's back. I mean, what were they thinking before that? He's actually a good guy. He's actually doing a good job. I mean, I'm interested in the football side of things. If that's the thing that's made them think Sir Jim Radcliffe might be clueless, I'd be very worried about the IQ of our players. I mean, fucking hell, there's a massive list. What did you think when you went into Carrington and half the people that you like and work with weren't there anymore? Because they've been sacked unceremoniously so Sir Jim can save a bit of money to pay the debt. Come on. Like, you know, it shouldn't be that makes you realise you've got a prat in charge. Also, we did that about Thiago. There was something something else. I want to talk about Bruno, but I feel like there was something else. Oh, this. A little bit of light heart. Look, I'm seeing people do videos about this for clicks. So, Matheus Cunha on the viral Man United fans no haircut until 5 wins bet. I'm more worried about the 15 points. I don't care about his haircut. It's not motivating for us. We don't think it's cool. Say it how it is. Say it how it is. So I think what we're getting here is we had Rooney talking about it. We've had, now we've got players talking about it. I think look, as I said, footballers are quite egotistical. They've got a job to do. They earn good money. They want to win. I don't think they are going to be sat there with a guy who's getting hundreds of thousands of views about a haircut. I don't think it's going to appeal to many of them, if I'm being completely honest. And just on that, by the way, hundreds of thousands of views, you might want to do your research on Kick. If you know, you know. Kick, look, it's not the same as YouTube in relation to how many viewers are watching, let's just say. That platform, I would say, if you've got 100,000 views, you might actually have 20. But look, that's by the by. It's still a lot of people. And people will go, you're just bitter and jealous. So I'm just giving you some facts. I actually feel quite sorry for the guy. I think there's been a massive pile on. I've seen other content creators making videos about it. At the end of the day, he's a human being who started off something for charity, who is now what... It reminds me a little bit of... I agree with Cunha, by the way. I agree with Cunha. I think if I was a player, I'd be like, I don't give a shit about someone keeping their hair long. I don't think it's that great. I wouldn't. If I was a player of Man United and someone asked me about the guy with the hair, I'd be like, I'd probably say the same. I'd be like, I don't give a shit. I don't think it's great. He's growing. There's another guy growing a beard. Like, you know, someone might be doing their toenails. So I've got no problem with being critical of it. But I think we do need to be a little bit compassionate. Look, we're meant to be an inclusive fan base. We can all have our opinions, but the way I look at it is, right, I think in this country, you come up with an idea and then you end up getting ridiculed. And it's a little bit like a Britain's Got Talent act. You know, Susan Boyle or someone like that. Everyone really likes it and go, that's great. And then they get bored of it. And I think all that's happened is, and it's not his fault, there was a time where it was like, oh, this is a crazy idea. 5 wins and I'll cut my hair. And I used to see it on my timeline. And I think Man United is such a, as we know, a firebox of a club. It's so volatile. And I think that it's now backfired. I think what was a bit of fun has now been like, well, because we didn't beat West Ham and people, it's just what happens. It's like somebody writes a song and are really talented and then they get signed up by the record company and it gets pushed in your face. And that's basically what's happened, isn't it? He started that on his own for charity. Now he's got brands and talent management and this, that and the other. And it's like, mate, you just grew your hair. Like, and I think people are sort of going the other way now. I would just say, look, who's feeding the fire? I'm feeding the fire, talking about it. You're feeding the fire, talking about it. If you want the fire to go out, ignore it. And that's what needs to happen. But I was doing an interview in Germany yesterday and they asked me about it. So it's like people are interested in it. If I was him, I'd probably cut my hair and say, I'm a Man United fan. I'm going to cut my hair. The hair's going to charity. I've raised a load of money. I'm going to try something else. I'd probably do that at this stage. But I think we need to be very careful about the pile-on. There is a human being behind that. And look, it has become ridiculous, but that's what happens in this industry. When you get signed up by a brand agency, they're going to start pushing you out here and there because they want to make money out of you. So it becomes very much about the money and you're going to get the backlash then. But if I was him, I'd shave my hair off and go, look, it's becoming a negative thing now. I never wanted it to be that. I'm a Man United fan. Shave your hair off, give it to the charity, pocket the money you've got and try and do something else. Right, let me talk to you about Bruno Fernandes. So, Bruno Fernandes, I asked Beth to ask Ben Jacobs about this yesterday. I'm worried about Bruno. So, we've been told for a long time that Bruno Fernandes, and he even said it himself, I can't remember what interview it was, he said himself that he's going to wait until after the World Cup before he makes his mind up. So I said, and Ben Jacobs has always been quite well informed on the Bruno situation, going back to Saudi last year, he was well informed on that. So I asked Beth to ask Ben yesterday, and some of you might see it, and he basically said, I asked Beth to say, Man United, I did that video, didn't I? Red alert about Bruno, how we have to get him signed up before the World Cup. We don't know who the manager is. We don't know who we're signing. We don't know who we're selling. We can't be in a situation where we go into a World Cup that won't finish until mid-July and the season starts in mid-August and not know whether our best player's staying or not. So I was saying, look, we need to find out one way or the other. You sit him down before the end of the season and you go, there's a better contract. You want to sign it or you're gone. You don't wait for him to make his mind up. We can't do that. We can't wait for him to come back after the World Cup and go, you've got to get him to make a decision. Commit or don't go. So I said to Beth, ask Ben what he knows about the Bruno situation and is there any way that we can speed it up. He said Man United are quite relaxed about waiting till after the World Cup for Bruno because they understand that they can't sell a project until they tell him who the manager is. And I thought, well, here we go again. It's total and utter seat of your pants crap running of a football club, isn't it? Man United are quite relaxed about waiting till after the World Cup because by then they'll be able to tell Bruno what the project is. What the fuck are we trying? What the fuck are we doing? So we're going to run a managerial process that's best in class, but we've not started it yet. And in that time, Enrique, Tuchel and Ancelotti are out the race because we're sat on our arse. And we're also going to wait quite relaxed and see what Bruno thinks after the World Cup. I mean, you can't do that. You can't do that. This is our best player. He's got, what, how many assists has he got in the Premier League? He's got nearly double everybody else. We have to be sitting him down and saying, what is it that we can do for you to make you stay at this football club for the next 2 or 3 years? And if he says there's nothing, then you start working on a contingency plan. But if he says, right, I'd like a little bit more money and I'd like a manager that's like not an interim, not an ex-player, somebody that's really, really good, that's going to make me feel like this is going to be a really good couple of years. And you've got to have that conversation. You can't just sit there and go, we're quite relaxed with waiting on Bruno. And that's not our big. I don't know why. I don't know why I repeat myself. We just don't behave like a big club. We've got people in that football club who just are absolutely. The big line is, they're not Man United people. They don't. Omar Barada, he ain't a Man United fan. Jason Wilcox, not a Man United fan. They don't understand what Man United is. They just don't understand that the club is big and bigger than anybody else and should be competing with Barcelona, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, PSG. They're running the club with the attitude of a Tottenham. They are. Oh, Bruno, you wait until you played the World Cup and then we'll sit down and have a chat. I'll bring the biscuits. I'll bring the biscuits. You know, we'll have a good old chat. No pressure. No pressure. Don't worry about it. You go and have a great World Cup and then we'll have a chat. I'll be like, Bruno, we're Man United, right? Next season, we're in the Champions League. We're going to recruit a manager. Do you want to be part of it or don't you want to be part of it? If you want to be part of it, I want to know before the World Cup. Willing to give you a pay rise, but I want to know before the World Cup. If you don't want to be a part of it, we're going to assume you don't want to be a part of it and we're going to move on. So do you want to be a part of it or not? Because we're Man United and I'm not waiting on you. That's how we should be behaving. I can't believe. I mean, look, that's not Man United. That's Macclesfield Town as well. These principles of running things work in your local fish and chip shop. If you've got somebody who's really good at delivering the chips and everyone likes them and you get loads of customers and they're thinking about leaving in the summer and you're like, what's going to happen? You don't go, oh, go and have a good old think about it. You got to have a good holiday and then come back. I'll be like, wait, I've got a business to run. I'll give you a pay rise. You go on your holiday and then you come back and work for me. Well, I'm not so sure about that. Fine. Well, I assume you're going then, right? See you later. How don't you run a football club like that? It's crazy to me. I don't think he should get any criticism. It's just a reflection of where the club is at the moment. It's on the team to get the results, says Epic Troll. I think he's talking about haircut guy. Rajaf says, I liked the gimmick since it was for charity, but it didn't raise enough for the time which it is going on, and the guy personally has become very rich, says Rajaf. I don't know on that. I mean, look, all I will say is when I do my charity streams, we raise like 40 to 50k in 12 hours. When I looked at that charity, it had 7k. And that's still good, but like when you've got hundreds of thousands of people apparently watching you and over £1 million on your over 1 million followers on your Instagram, and you've got a talent agency behind you, realistically, I would have expected a little bit more. But look, it's still £7,000. Wild Spider, thanks for being a member for 26 months. Bulbous Tip, with a £10 super chat, says Pratcliffe has paid more tax than all of us ever will combined. It's irrelevant. Before this, he bailed the Glazers out. Why is the tax the thing that gets people angry? We already know he's a Pratt. Champers. Amit said, why would any future manager agree to being a coach? Says Amit, and I can't wait to watch Driving with Goldbridge. Well, we'll all be watching it together in about 8 minutes because it's on my channel. The link is in the live chat. Get yourself over there. Lots of content on there as well. Shaw, Maguire, Mainu, Mount, Rashford, World Cup winners, says Robert McCormack. Mate, if Mason Mount goes to the World Cup, I'm supporting Scotland. That would be a disgrace of epic proportions, Robert. I don't want Luke Shaw in an England squad. I don't want Mason Mount in an England squad. Rashford, I'm happy. I think he plays really well with Kane on the left. Mainu, I'd like to see him. And Maguire is a backup centre-back. I wouldn't start him. So, but yeah, the other two, forget it. I don't think they should be anywhere near it. I think I just feel with Luke Shaw, I need to be the balance to Ricky's ridiculous obsession that he's world class. I think I have to be the complete opposite just to provide balance on the fan base. And I'm willing to do that. I don't think he should get any criticism. I've done that one from Epic Troll as well. Right, okay, let me just make sure I've covered everything off this morning because the last few days I've really noticed that we get locked in on a topic and I have like 10 things I want to talk about and I'll miss 4 or 5. I saw this bit from the Manchester Evening News about Nagelsmann. Nagelsmann is another who features highly and has a good relationship with Director of Football for Val Recruitment, whose power base is growing, but Nagelsmann poses the same problem as Tuchel as is in the charge of Germany at the World Cup. I don't think we'll go for Nagelsmann. I think Nagelsmann is a smokescreen. I think the managerial shortlist is Carrick, favourite, Pochettino, and then maybe De Zerbi. I think that's the 3. Nagelsmann, I feel, is a smokescreen to try and make them sound relevant because they've lost 3 big hitters in Tuchel, Ancelotti, and Enrique. And I think the managerial shortlist of Carrick, Pochettino, and De Zerbi sounds shit. To be honest, not that they're shit. I'm just saying, like, if that's your choice, it's best. It's not best in class, is it? Carrick, Pochettino, and De Zerbi, Liverpool wouldn't go anywhere near. Arsenal wouldn't go anywhere near. Man City wouldn't go anywhere near. And again, I keep saying this. If you want to catch Arsenal and Man City, you got to behave like Arsenal and Man City. And Arsenal and Man City are not going to shortlist Pochettino, De Zerbi, and Carrick. But that's who I think our 3-man shortlist is. I think the reason Nagelsmann's there to give it a bit of glamour, to make people think, ooh, but we're not going for Nagelsmann. I'll tell you why we're not going for Nagelsmann. His club record isn't sensational, and he's never managed in the Premier League. And also, he's quite temperamental, as he was at Bayern. We won't go anywhere near him. If Mazraoui says, if Shaw is world class, then Eric Dyer is too. Yeah. I mean, you sort of silenced me there because I was actually looking at something else. Forgetting England, we need a new left back. And we can't. I wouldn't go for Nico O'Reilly anyway because he's a Man City player, but Lewis Hall I would. So, Bucko says I'd like to see Glasner. Mate, have you watched Palace play football? They're really negative, and he also plays a back 5. I don't think. I don't think they'll go anywhere near Glasner. I think that's a load of bollocks. Glasner is like almost like a more defensive Amorim. I don't think they'll go anywhere near him. Trina says, what about Luis Enrique? You need to tune in at the right times. Trina, he's been mentioned multiple times in this video and won't be taking the job. What do you think about Pochettino? As I said, Carrick, Pochettino, De Zerbi, I'm not saying they're terrible coaches, but after 12 years of failure, if that's our choice pool, with what's above them, I don't like the sign of our future. Carrick, Pochettino or De Zerbi with Wilcox above them and Sir Jim Ratcliffe above them. I mean, that's like I said, I go back to the start of the video. That's like you've got more chance of getting piss out of a swimming pool than Man United becoming successful again. That's just not the setup for success. The question is, even if you got Luis Enrique, do you think we'd be successful? And that would be hard with this ownership anyway. I would like Unai Emery, but I just don't think... I think Real Madrid might be going there, to be honest with you. Yeah. Right. Just trying to think it. Oh, it's Friday. It's Friday today, isn't it? Of course, Man United don't have a game because we got knocked out of the fucking... Who knocked us out of the FA Cup? That wasn't Amrim, was it? Amrim didn't get us knocked out of the FA Cup, did he? Was it Fletcher? So what did Fletcher do? Did he draw with Burnley and then lose to Brighton? Fucking hell. Yeah, we should have had. You know what? I mean, you can't argue about spilt water or milk or whatever. But I mean, again, that's the board fucking up again, isn't it? Because the reason Carrick wasn't in for the Brighton game is because we were too busy thinking about giving it to fucking Solskjaer, weren't we? If we'd have actually just gone to Carrick straight away, that would have been his first game and we'd still be in the FA Cup. Although we didn't have the AFCON players and Bruno was still injured, I think. It's just shit. Shit. Let's just get Champions League football. Right. Get yourselves over to the premiere. I'm just about to get over there myself. It starts in 2 minutes. Driving with Goldbridge. Bit of a Valentine's theme. If you're not part of that channel, you need to subscribe when you're over there and listen in. But I will see you over there with the live chat in a minute. Thanks everyone for watching. We're back at 2 and 8 o'clock tonight as well. Take care. Stay safe. I'll speak to you in a bit. Get yourself over to Driving with Goldbridge.